Welcome to my audio and video book, Planet Earth's Galactic Human History, the Extraterrestrial Origin of the Human Species, the true Star Wars saga, plus an explanation of the origins and destruction of Atlantis, Lemuria, Mars, Venus, and the Moon, and the origins of some of the ancient and mysterious civilizations on Earth, including Egypt, Mexico, Central and South America, the Mayans, of course, and other related civilizations and their related pyramids and gods who were extraterrestrials, their temples, and other ancient archaeology, as well as the origin of the Sumerian civilization and China, specifically the Xi'an province and related pyramids in that area, as well as India, formerly known as Rama, specifically the Indus Valley temples, plus the importance of the cetaceans, our beloved whales, and our more recent extraterrestrial history since the 1940s, including the Greys, aka the Zeta Reticuli, and the secret government, and where we are heading as a species and planet as we become a more galactic-oriented civilization a la Star Trek, and we interact in a more open and no longer hidden and secret way with our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters in the ships above and in the galaxies far, far away, who are here to welcome us and support us to become a galactic species and join the Galactic Federation of Light as guardians of this planet and guardians of our solar system. And using as a profound reference the amazing Sheldon Idle's book entitled You Are Becoming a Galactic Human, plus my extensive knowledge of many aspects of our extraterrestrial origins, our ET history, ET involvement with Earth, as well as my extensive knowledge and awareness of the spiritual hierarchy, the angelic kingdom, the ascended masters, as well as the Galactic Federation and the Ashtar Command, of which I am a proud member and divine servant, planetary awakener, guide, and guardian. So, without further ado, Planet Earth's Galactic Human History, the extraterrestrial origin of the human species, the true Star Wars saga. Cue Star Wars music. I have always been interested in ETs and space shows, Star Trek, Star Wars, you name it. Not only because they're more interesting than the boring, same old stuff that humans seem to be so addicted to watching, like the cop shows, etc. That just keeps playing over and over again on planet Earth. But also because I am one. You heard right, folks. I identify as an extraterrestrial. And why not? You can identify yourself as anything these days. Boys are identifying as girls. Girls are identifying as boys, or identifying as genderless, or identifying themselves as plants, or whatever they want to identify themselves as, because of this great time of freedom that we are in. And in my spiritual awakening and mastery journey, I have always been attracted to channeled teachings, which not only included information about extraterrestrials, but often came from physical beings who identified as ETs or who literally channeled extraterrestrial entities. And I've read countless channeled books about the different ET races that are out there in the galaxies and in the cosmos, and some of our space shows and movies and documentaries have legitimate factual info about these ETs, or are loosely based upon ET races, as well as federations of groups of ETs that have joined together with peaceful intentions. With the United Federation of Planets in the Star Trek universe mimics very closely the Galactic Federation of Light, which is an actual federation of not just planets, but entire star systems, where every ET race in those systems is unified in peace and the light. Because just like Star Wars, there has literally been a war between the dark and the light, so to speak, for millions of years. Except most of these so-called dark forces are not other humans. Some of them are, but most of the bad guys, in quotations, are not humanesque at all. They're more reptilian and dinosauric or dinoid in nature. But the good news is that even they are getting tired and bored with being megalomaniacs and trying to control the entire universe, and are coming over to the light and joining the Galactic Federation, which I'll get more into later. Now, anthropologists have discovered many fossils of many different humanesque species dating back millions of years, but have struggled to find any very early fossil evidence of Homo sapiens to try and tie us into any of those other species evolutionarily. Our DNA is very similar to chimpanzees, and we did evolve from a primate species, but not on this planet. And anthropologists have found little or no related DNA to any of the many other humanesque species that evolved on planet Earth, such as the Neanderthal. But we have Neanderthal DNA in our bodies, as well as Denisovans DNA from only interbreeding with them. Not because we evolved from them, because we interbred with them. But we didn't evolve from those species. So where did we come from? If you study the countless channeled books from different ET races, such as the Sirians, the Pleiadians, the Raelians, the Greys, aka the Zeta Reticulans, etc., you'll hear many different stories, many of which claim to be the creators of the human species, aka Homo sapiens. But did they actually create us? Or did they merely have influence upon our evolution or influence upon our DNA? Or in some cases, did they make DNA adjustments to make us smarter, or try to make us smarter, or try to make us more stupid and become kind of like slaves? As I said, there are many stories and many different ETs that have interacted with us humans and this planet for millions upon millions of years. And their history would be volumes upon volumes of history, including the Anunnaki from the planet Nibiru, aka the 12th planet, which of course you can read extensively about from ZaKaiRan Sitchin's books. The 12th planet, Nibiru, that has an elliptical orbit, and very advanced extraterrestrials that live upon that planet and come to Earth to interact with us on many different ways, and who in the past mined gold from planet Earth. But that is another story entirely. Again, that you can read about from the great authors ZaKaiRan Sitchin, as well as Barbara Marciniak in her books. But today I'm going to focus on the Sirians, the Galactic Federation of Light, and the spiritual hierarchy, specifically information from Sheldon Idle, who channels information from the members of the Syrian Galactic Council, who are focused upon the evolution of the human species and our entire planet's ascension into the light, to eventually become conscious members of the Galactic Federation of Light. The original vision of the creation of the human race was for us to become a guardian species for planet Earth, to anchor light upon this Earth and protect it as a beacon of light in the galaxy. This was the vision of Source, and carried out by the Time Lords and the spiritual hierarchy of our solar system. And to accomplish this mission about 35 million years ago, they first created an etheric, angelic-like life form to act as an intermediary until a more physical creature had evolved to become land-based guardians of planet Earth. And in fact, a primate did evolve on planet Earth over the next 8 million years or so, and other creatures began to evolve to become planetary guardians. And about 26 million years ago, two non-human species and their civilizations, a reptilian race from the Sagittarius constellation and a dinoid society from the Orion space system, arrived and colonized Earth. Now, these two races are very typically conquer, control, and exploit-oriented races, but they were showered with love from the spiritual hierarchy, and these two races allowed life to evolve on planet Earth without interference. And a land-based pre-Cetacean creature evolved into full sentience. And these pre-Cetaceans and the reptoids and dinoids got along and cooperated. And the pre-Cetaceans became excellent farmers and provided enough food for themselves as well as for the dinoids and reptoids. So, they weren't going to have a problem with that, would they? They're giving food for them. So everyone were happy campers, and things looked pretty good. Even the plan of a species becoming a planetary guardian species. Our planet and these three species became quite well known as a very unique situation because of the cooperative diversity that was going on. And many other ET species were visiting our Earth to check it out, because dinoids and reptiles just don't get along with other people. But word got back to the home systems for the reptiles and dinoids about this cooperation, which they were not happy about because their civilizations are built upon conquering other civilizations, not cooperating with them. They believed that they were the superior races of the galaxy and were given this dominion and superiority by the Creator. Anyway, the powers that be of the dinoid and reptoid hierarchy that this decided that this nicey nice cooperation bullshit had to end, and that the pre-Cetaceans had to be destroyed. The pre-Cetaceans knew of their nefarious plans for their destruction and decided to do a preemptive strike to destroy the reptoids and dinoids by blowing up their fusion generators. And to save their own society, one half of the pre-Cetaceans were evacuated out of the solar system in spaceships. The other half went to the oceans. And then over the next 4 million years, they evolved into the true aquatic whales and dolphins that we have today. But everyone else fled to the Pegasus and Cetus star systems to eventually return to Earth. Around 98% of all the dinoids and rhabdoids were then destroyed. The rest fled to the then habitable planets of Mars and Jupiter. You heard right. Mars and Jupiter used to be habitable planets. And the water-based cetaceans then became the official planetary guardians of Earth. But the water and now space-based cetaceans began to search the galaxies for a possible land-based species that could become planetary guardians for planet Earth and take the place of the land-based cetaceans. Now, here's where we humans come into the picture. The cetaceans and the Earth's spiritual hierarchy, after about 3 million years, discovered an aquatic primate on the fourth planet in the Vega system in the Lyra constellation and asked the Earth's spiritual hierarchy if they could alter that species genetically to advance and evolve quicker. This advancement of these aquatic primates into the human species allowed us to develop technologically at such an advanced level that we were able to eventually travel interstellarly and spread out across the galaxy. As the human species continued its expansion across the galaxy, about 4.5 million years ago, it encountered scouting parties of our old nemesis, the reptoids and dinoids. Luckily, we had the cetaceans and Lady Gaia's help to fight the dinoid reptile alliance to a standstill. In case you have not heard the name before, Lady Gaia, Lady Gaia is the obviously extremely advanced spirit that inhabits this planet that we call Earth. Our migration then continued across our Milky Way galaxy into our local solar system, and we set up an Earth colony called Hibernia. And this civilization thrived for the next 1 million years and became a very enlightened Lyran/Syrian-based type of civilization. A very enlightened form of civilization. But of course, our favorite reptoids and dinoids eventually returned with a vengeance to try and reestablish dominance and aid their scattered buddies that were now stuck on the planet Maldek, a planet that was later destroyed and whose pieces now form the asteroid belt. And this subsequent war destroyed the atmosphere and the hydrosphere, the oceans and the rivers of Mars, and locked Venus into a perpetual greenhouse condition of unlivable acrid gases and destroyed the entire human Hibernian civilization. The Dinoid-Reptoid Alliance then controlled our solar system for the next 80,000 years. But we couldn't be kept down too long because the Galactic humans then devised a plan to get rid of those Dinoid-Reptoid bastards by bringing in a battle planet to destroy Maldek, which was the chief base of the Dinoid-Reptoid Alliance. And you thought that the Death Star was just fiction. Now, this battle planet was then placed in a 3,600-year elliptical orbit in our solar system, also known now as Nibiru. This was then kept as a sort of guardian planet, as a warning against possible invaders, that what they would be up against if they had their sights set on taking this solar system and this planet for themselves. Later, this planet would become controlled by a rogue group of Pleiadians, which you can read about in Zecharia Sitchin's books, as well as Barbara Marciniak's Pleiadian Agenda book, where these very advanced extraterrestrials known as the Anunnaki, who interacted with Earth humans including altering human DNA and interbreeding with humans and making human slave gold miners, etc., and becoming part of the Mesopotamian and biblical mythology as gods. But they were not gods, so to speak. They were just advanced extraterrestrials with spaceships. But that is another story entirely. Again, you can read more about that in the various ET books from the Pleiadians and ZaKaiRan Sitchin's books. Now, after destroying the Dinoid Reptoid military base on Maldek, it was easy to destroy their colony on Earth. And so the Earth humans decided to set up a new colony on the continent of Lemuria, which was a very massive continent in the Pacific Ocean under Lyran, Syrian, democratic, and spiritual principles. And this civilization then spread across the planet to the continent of Atlantis that covered most of the Atlantic Ocean from present-day North and South America to Europe and Africa, as well as to other parts of the world, including South America, also known as the Mayan civilization, China, also known back then as the Yu Empire, Egypt, of course, and Rama, later to become India, etc. The most significant colonies of Lemuria were Atlantis and the Yu Empire, located in the China-Tibet area, as well as Egypt. The Atlanteans then proceeded to develop overinflated egos and ideas of superiority and wanted to become the mother ruler of the planet rather than just being a Lemurian sister civilization. And for the next 25,000 years, they built alliances with renegade Pleiadians and Alpha Centaurians who were stationed in outpost star systems, who had similar hierarchical superiority perspectives. And 25,000 years ago, they destroyed Lemuria by moving one of our two moons, yes, you heard right, two moons over the continent of Lemuria and destroying that moon with particle beam weapons from their ships and raining asteroids down upon the Lemurian continent, which caused a volcanic catastrophe, imploding volcanic gas chambers below the continent and sinking Lemuria beneath the depths of the ocean. Depth soundings from scientific research have detected vast mountains and mountain ranges and valleys deep in the Pacific, which are the remnants of the once amazing civilization of Lemuria. And now, with the destruction of Lemuria, Atlantis could now exert their non-democratic hierarchical dominance with impunity. In one of the many channeled spiritual retreats that I attended in my early days of awakening, I once attended a Mafu retreat, channeled by Penny Torres, at a place called Saga Lake, a bottomless lake north of Los Angeles, where every single attendant had all been together on Atlantis in previous lives. And we were led by Mafu through our past experiences together, including the nasty things that we used to get up to. And for me personally, the villainous things that I did against my enemies using crystals. But again, that's another story. In fact, that's a movie script. So that was just an introduction to this exciting, unprecedented, and spellbinding book about the extraterrestrial origins of the human species and our involvement with other humanesque as well as non-human ET races. And if you'd like to hear more about our involvement with other extraterrestrial species as well as our galactic history and origins as colonizers of planet Earth, including other colonizers previously here on planet Earth, mainly the dinoids and reptoids, who are dinosauric and reptilian in origin, and galactic wars, the classic real Star Wars story, with these creatures. And if you'd like to hear more about the origins and subsequent demises of the many ancient civilizations that have graced this Earth, from human colonies and otherwise, mainly the civilization of Hibernia, Lemuria, Atlantis, Egypt, of course, Ionia, the U Empire, the Mayan civilization, who also came from the stars, plus answering the classic question, who built the pyramids and how did they build the pyramids? As well as how Lemuria was destroyed by Atlantis, by the Atlanteans, and how Atlantis was destroyed from the Great Flood, which was started by, well, I'm not going to spoil it. You got to find out. And other amazing information, such as the fact that Mars and Venus were previously inhabited planets, but were subsequently destroyed from those different wars between the humans and the dinoids and reptoids. A bit about Planet X, aka the 12th planet, and the Nibiruans, which the great ZaKaiRan has written about in a lot of different books. And of course, the gray aliens, aka the hybrid Zeta Reticuli, and their experiments that started in Atlantean times, plus 2 extraterrestrial species involvement with Earth and the human species, mainly the Sirians from the star system Sirius, and the Pleiadians from the star system of the Pleiades. In addition to the organizations behind the colonization of this planet and our solar system with the human species, mainly the Galactic Federation and the spiritual hierarchy of angels, archangels, ascended masters, etc., plus Mother Gaia, and most importantly, where we are headed as a planet and a species to become planetary and galactic guardians and full-fledged members of the Galactic Federation of Light, which is a federation of countless extraterrestrial species, star systems, and star leagues, all banded together in peace, love, and galactic cooperation, like the United Federation of Planets in Star Trek, thanks to the great Gene Roddenberry. So, if all that sounds way too exciting to miss out on, then click the link below in the description of this podcast or this video and get access to the audios and videos of my insanely, outrageously amazing book, Planet Earth's Galactic Human History, the Extraterrestrial Origin of the Human Species, the True Star Wars Saga. Da 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 da.